Yo, what's up guys? Let's do a Siege review showcase on the alt. So this is currently a P3 to G1 Siege. Most of the guilds around this rank kind of go up and down a little bit. So this is one of those hits I always do. It is the Shina from myself, and then it's the Martina and Triana that you get from the supports. Most cases, what you try to do is trying to get the annoying target stunned. This case didn't get that stunned, so that's always a little bit dangerous, but in most cases not that much of an issue. You do get this third skill in right now. It mostly doesn't do that much damage if you didn't do that much damage to the enemy just yet. But let's try to take out the Amdot. And yeah, Shina Martina definitely does do a fair amount of damage, but so does this Kaki. I kind of underestimated that. So if we stun it, we will be fine. We had a double resistance on that stun right there. And a proc out, which isn't really helping. So I was like, okay, we just got to go full damage for it. Only issue is that I was expecting to do a little bit more damage and then he killed me. And that's pretty much where that story ends for Shina Martina in this case, because that's just not really what's gonna make it work out, especially if, yeah, I guess 100 res, high stats on this one. That's also one of those things on lower ranks. You're never really sure what is on good wounds or what is not. So then the next hit, I did pre-record this, but I forgot to showcase the builds, and I do want to show the builds, all of this. So I'm not hitting this one, but just showing the builds. 191er on speed, this one is a 139er, and that is the Sonia you get for free. And then I did this hit with us. So I just wanted to showcase also all of the builds. On the main, I sometimes have to hide stuff, or mostly have to hide stuff. In here, it doesn't really matter all that much. The Sonia is definitely a nice pickup from the supports that you get over here. The only big issue is that the Sonia really needs an attack buff. Otherwise, it's plus 1300 attack or something, which is definitely way too low to do it without an attack buff. But the Pro line is the easiest to pull in the attack buff with. There's also a Adriana in the supports. But the big issue about the Adriana in supports is it's actually slower than the Sonia. So you cannot really use that, but a simple Pro line will definitely do. Also, it's not a 100 crit rate. With this Pro line, it is. And then a hit of a mono element, which is not really that common to see a mono element defense. But in general, it's also not that strong. So therefore, people don't really actually put this stuff up. This is the builds. I just used my PvE one over there. Riley is the one that you get for free. Feng is looking like this. I went through it really quick, but if you want to see it, just pause the video. And the Riley is one from the supports as well, so you can check the stats. Apparently, I didn't showcase it all in here. But yeah, this is definitely one of those hits which I think is pretty much just unlosable. Like, the moment you put a Feng into a full water team, very little chance that anything can ever happen. And I just wanted to get like any wind unit in there so it wouldn't get full damage. It's still kind of bad if they would focus the wind unit, but I have a decent amount of destroy on the Feng regardless, so that part is kind of decent. I should actually build a Riley of my own. It is pretty useful now I have a Feng. Fun fact, I actually pulled a second Feng. RNG gun to RNG. I went from 0 Feng to 2 Feng in a matter of 2 days. That's randomness. It's also my very first dupe in the game. On this account, of course. But yeah, from here on out, it's just super easy cleanup. Let's speed this up a little bit. Good old Feng hits. Feng makes a lot of siege very easy. Well, that's why he's known as the unfair bear, right? I also have been doing a lot more arena offenses on auto because of the Feng right now. The auto team that I do use is a Leo Feng. I don't have an alliance, so I use a Lulu. And then with the Lulu, I still use a Tetra. It's highly recommended to go for double team or like double supports in that team. I could go double Feng plus a Lulu or something. It would be a lot faster, but the double support in most cases is pretty good. Also, I don't really have good Vio runes for 2 sets. I could maybe make one on like double destroy Nemesis or something weird. That could definitely be a thing if I wanted to use 2. But then again, most of the times, I would as I was saying, double support is most likely the way to go. So yeah, easy cleanup from there. Then a pretty interesting team. Wouldn't necessarily say that this is a good defense altogether, but definitely an interesting one right there. Very easy for a Tetra, and something for damage like the side of a Seth or something like that. And then just add in like a Veramos just to clean up all of the dots. Tetra runes are also the runes that I currently use on the Tetra in normal, so that's the Tetra looking like for me doing the auto arena offenses. It's pretty easy, like you don't even need Vio on it or anything, you just need it to have enough stats to have proper healings in there, and that's about it. The Veramos was actually not optimized for this part at all because it was super fast, but then again, it was totally something that could work. Also, I didn't have the will rune in there. I was like, it probably works. It probably works. Let's just go. So yeah, at this hit, it's pretty much all about the Seth just getting turns in doing all of his dots, Doomsday, and that kind of stuff. And Seth is really a good unit early game for Siege. Like, if you're focusing more on Siege and you don't really know what to build, maybe of 2 ways of stuff, Seth is absolutely one of those that I would highly recommend you to look into, because sure, there's not that many teams that are full susceptible to dot teams right now, but as you see, you can just pretty much TOA hard the living shit out of this whole team, and it's really easy that way. And sure, this really enables it where they do already provide the Leo for you, so you don't have to provide the Leo. That makes life very easy. But then again, there's more options out there, which I would say that this team has some value out there. I do also think that I had a little bit low accuracy as we're not landing an insane amount on the left side. Left side is more resisting from what I've seen. But yeah, in the end, super easy cleanup. I think one of the better hits I've done this whole siege, I would say. Double resistance, triple resistance, I did not activate. But yeah, in here, even if it goes for torrents right now, it's most likely a win. Like, it's definitely not that difficult. Plus, the Vermos helps to provide that one extra dot, which you can also proc the Doomsday on, so you actually get stuns. Then a hit with a Galleon and my good old friend, Mr. Rick. The Rick in there, and also the Joe Gun in there. I did not expect them to be fast, so that's also the main thing that I was playing for. Sure, their defense looks a little bit wonky. That's absolutely true. It also looks like halfway-ish unruined. But then again, you still need your Galleon to land. Good old Galleon. Good old Galleon. So yeah, can we still actually win? Well, Rick damage, 36k, no armor break. That's an insane amount of damage. I was like, okay, we still have one issue, though. That demon is gonna come back, but look at what I did over here. It was more luck than, like, wisdom, but the idea was pretty fun. So I saved the S2, because I noticed that if I get the turn in like this, if I do the S2 right now, I get the instant turn, he gets the instant turn. Who gets the instant turn? I get the instant turn, he dies again. I was like, yo, that was some planning ahead. Well, maybe a little bit more luck than wisdom right there on that play, but I was counting the turns. I was like, wait a minute. I think it works if I get the perfect rotation. To be honest, never actually tried that interaction in the first place, so it was a first timer for me. But yeah, then again, if we just land the armor break from the get-go, he would have died anyways. But was a fun try. Then the following team, using the Leona, using a Fran, and using a Monty. I should have actually done anything else than the Monty, because the Monty now also gets targeted by all of the light units, where I, of course, had the Leona as a light unit tank. So that was kind of the thing on this. And let me tell you that this fight was definitely an interesting one in a way that you probably don't really hope it to be interesting. So I have Destroy on the Leona, so I was like, okay, at some point I'm going to be destroying the Leona, and it's totally fine. But I should have also expected, of course, this Artemil to be on the Destroy. Also, the Monty didn't do jack shit for the rolling dices and stuff. But at first, it looks like a fight like, yeah, that's totally winnable. You just have to get the right hits in on the right moment. But yeah, you do have stunts from the Artemil. You do have stunts from the Jean. You do have the provokes from the Jean. And you notice already, Monty is not in this battle for a very long time. So that is definitely a little bit tricky. But can you still then clear mainly just on Destroy? Because I got Destroy and Vampire on Leona. So technically, Leona is invisible. The unit just doesn't die. It's impossible for her to die. But then the other question is it possible for them to die? Well, let me tell you that at some point, I was letting this thing run on auto for about an hour on my phone. It was a good thing it was on my phone, though. I didn't record the whole hour on this, but at some point, let's speed it up even a little bit more, because you will notice the Monty at some point dies, or, well, pretty much gets super low HP, gets a bunch of crits in, because, of course, he's hitting wrong element, and it's gonna crit over there. And yeah, then we die. So over here, you could say it's like, oh, the friend is gonna die. Well, the weird thing is, at first I was trying to kill the Artemil, and then I know it's like, okay, killing the Artemil is definitely impossible, way too hard. Then I switched on trying to kill the Jean, and then I actually noticed, like, hey, the Molly is actually very low on defense. I'm hitting that one way more. So I tried to kill the Molly, and yeah, as you can see, I just put it on auto at some point, and this is how that went for a very long time. So it's just trying to destroy shit. But the big issue is that the counters on the friend didn't have that much crit rate. But at some point, there were still enough counters on the friend to drop her HP to very low. If at that point also a provoke happens, it gets a lot more dangerous. So I was like, because at some point your destroyed HP is capped at a certain max. So I was like looking at this fight for a while. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna put my phone down. I'm getting annoyed. I just press auto and we'll just see how it happens. This still took about an hour to finish. At some point, even the friend died. So I finally killed the Molly. If I didn't kill the Molly when the friend was alive, it wouldn't have been possible. Also, the friend was dealing damage by max HP, which was destroyed. So it was dealing no damage from artifacts. I did know for sure that if I kept stunning the Jean long enough, also the friend died over there, which is really not nice. But I knew for sure that if the Jean died, I would have guaranteed win. And if I get enough skill ones in, which is only like, I think she only had like 13 accuracy or something. But if I get enough skill ones in like this, it's so low HP, it is possible to kill. But I saw it like this for a few times. After this, I still had to auto for another half hour. And I didn't even record the finish on it because this was just recording. Like, I can show you over here. It's even that. At some point, I even plugged my phone at like a 1%er over here. But wait, if I click this through, do you see the time of this? No, you don't see the time on this. But this just went through like legit. This went through for a very long time, like super long. So at some point I had to stop the recording because I'm not sure how much space there is on this phone that I can actually record for. But yeah, in the end, after an hour or something of RNG at some point, like every time it looks super close, like, oh, it's about to die, it's about to die. Oh, it's about to die right now. Oh, no, procced out, stun me again. Back to full HP. It's like, fuck though, man. Fuck though. So yeah, after half an hour of this, it did actually manage to take the victory. And just to showcase that it actually did take the victory, you can see it over here. But I did not record it. So then our hit with the Leo, we also use the Winnobara and we use a Lulu. Lulu is also in the exact same style that I use it in normal. Same for the Winnobara. These are the exact same styles that I use in normal. Might be a little bit of a tricky team. I think 100% resistance Lulu would have absolutely done better. Because right now you're still gonna get the armor break from the Minato, which is not really that great. Sure, you also have that to work with at first, but at some point I'm gonna get debuffs regardless. So in this case, yeah, the armor break from the Minato, if you then get a proper few hits in, it's not that great, especially not if you get stunned by a Jean as well. But we do at least get the double turn provoke over there, which helps us out a lot. Also, the dots, you will always get a dot from this. You can even force the Nora to dot on you. So if I were to hit the Nora right now, I would have gotten another dot, but I already had a dot, so I didn't really need to. So that's one of those things that Noras on defense are very susceptible to the Winnobara. But in this case, it's still a little bit dangerous, so we do get that extra hit in over there. Once again, nearly dies. No hit from that. Do we kill it over here? Yeah, I think we just go for the clean kill. There's heal block on it, and from there, there's pretty much no HP on anything ever. So yeah, Nobara in general, just a super solid, super strong hit just to do for a lot of stuff. So definitely one of those characters that you could be looking at. It's like, okay, feels a little bit tricky because she lowers her own HP, but definitely very strong in offense. Then another pretty strong hit. We have the Leica that is used from the supports. We have the Vanessa that's normally on defense, and the Perna also used from the supports. There's definitely some good supports in this season. I'm curious about next season, if they're going to do like equally as good supports. But for this season, I would definitely say there's a really strong ones out there. So in this case, the Perna has double life, technically a triple life. The Leica is hard to kill. So that was my idea behind this whole hit. If everything is kind of hard to kill, then at some point the Leica can just take over and clean house. That is mainly the thing that I was aiming for. Even if we lose the Perna like a few times, it doesn't really matter all too much. Like, sure, Perna dies and then you still have to go through a Leica. Leica is also one of those units that a lot of defenses don't really keep in mind. It's like, ooh, a Leica could potentially do like a lot of work on it. And this is definitely one of those defenses that, sure, mono element Leica, it's just going to take over and it's going to do a lot of work. So very strong offense right there, very strong unit to pick up. And of course you also see some Leicas on defense, so I'm going in with the two from the support, the Chilling, the Adriana, and then my Icarus is pretty much just run whatever you use in normal, so not that much speedy. I was like, okay, maybe with this I can simply kill out the Leica and then make it work from there. So in this case, the Icarus was a little bit too slow, so yep, that doesn't really help out, and you have this hit into that hit. I expected a little bit more from the speed buff. But then again, there's also not really a form of a heal block. And this, in the end, it is good multi-hits, but it also doesn't fully kill. So, yeah, in the end, not really of a great team. And you will probably lose with this. I have been using this before if they have, like, no sustain. If no sustain, it's kind of doable. But let's use a team that's a little bit more proper against this. So in this case, we have a Theomars, it's my best Vaio set. We have a second Feng Yang on the exact same set as the other Feng Yang. And we use a Sirin, which is very good for multi-hits. And that was also the main idea behind this. So does still move in front of me, does actually get a stun over there, which is not really that great. But since the Theomars moves first, that's a lot of damage. That's how you take out a Leica right there. So yeah, in the end, I should have done this team all along. It's pretty often where you hit the team once and then you're like, oh, should have done something else. And then you go for the second time. It's like, why did I not use this for the first time? So in the end, well, he can kill that or not. But then afterwards, the Theomars just cleans up pretty easily. So yeah, Sirin against the Leica, definitely one of those things that does work very well. In the end, did get a 8 out of 10. Not the greatest of successes, but then again, I would say it's pretty decent for the siege that I'm at right now, because I did get a 10-10 before, but it's definitely one of those things that sometimes you do tend to underestimate some teams here and there, and then it doesn't really work out. But in the end, Siege is all about prepping the right team with the right runes and that kind of stuff, rather than you having like a way better rune quality than someone else. It's more about using the right teams and then a little bit of RNG here and there. That's definitely true. But this was the video of the Siege on the alt, showcasing the Leona. Is it that interesting of a unit? Well, against the full light team, it's a great tank, but it can take you half an hour to an hour to actually auto anything. Maybe next time, don't use it. Maybe next time, I won't be using that Monty, something else, and that will probably clean up things better. Either way, guys, thanks for watching for this one. See you as always in the next one. We're definitely going to be doing the Arena Rush on the Sunday on the alt, also on the main. On the main, I also have a pretty interesting idea, because I saw a defense get legend without any LD5, and that was last week. And I'm going to be seeing if that team was either a fluke, or is it actually a 5-head team that is going to be very interesting. So let's see how that works out. But that is for the stream on Sunday, and the video is probably Monday and Tuesday. If you don't want to miss out on those, you will know where to find me. Follow the channel, and see you later.
Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more guides, join the Discord and check out the content tab for the guide video archive, which contains all of the guides that you might need. Hope to see you there.